Hello my most amazing artists, and welcome to a very brand new project. This project is called Monet Lily Pads, and if you have already looked at our Nearpod for this week, then you have already learned all the different things about Mr. Monet. He was a very influential painter of his time, and he is said to be the father of Impressionism. Impressionism is an art movement where artists would go outside and paint things that they see, and they would paint really fast and use bright colors and bold brush strokes because they would paint along with how the light changed. You know, if the sun was going down, they would try to capture that in their painting. So they were very revolutionary. Nobody was doing that at the time. Everybody was painting like perfect, beautiful landscapes and stuff like that, but they were kind of rebels in that area, and they would paint very fast, very quick, and their paintings would change with how whatever they were looking at would change. So let's look at this Monet painting. This is not a real painting that he did, it's just a print of it. So let's just use our imagination for a second and imagine Monet walking with an easel and his canvas and his paints and paintbrushes to find a spot to paint for the day. He chose this beautiful bridge with the water and these lily pads in there. And as the sun would go down, or as the light would change, as the wind would move these plants around, his painting would change with that. So he would try to capture those little moments in his painting to create one beautiful artwork. And as you can see, if you look very close, you can see those little brush strokes and how fast and quick they are. It doesn't look like he sat there and really took his time putting those brush strokes in there. It looks very quick, very fast, very bold, and that is what Impressionism is all about. And we want to kind of think about that while we are doing our painting today. Okay, so we're actually going to create the lily pad for our project, and we're going to add some more stuff to our lily pad next week and in the following weeks. But today, I really want us to focus on being impressionists, okay? Painting fast, painting bold with bright colors, and just kind of expressing ourselves with paint. So before we do get started painting, let's just quickly go over what you will need for today. We're going to need a paper plate. If you don't have a paper plate, you can just use a piece of paper and cut it into the shape of a circle. But I thought paper plates are pretty accessible, very easy, and it's already a circular shape, just like a lily pad. And for our colors of our paint, I am going with some cool colors down here. I want to add a little bit of yellow to kind of brighten up my lily pad. So I'm going to mainly focus on green since it's a lily pad. They are mainly green, but we can add other colors in there as well, and you can kind of experiment with the colors that you want to. Okay, so if you want to look online at a real lily pad and just search in Google Images lily pad, and it'll come up and you can try to paint those colors that you see. Okay, when I think of a lily pad, I think of yellows, blues, and greens, and I even have some white to add some brighter areas. So you can get creative with your color choices today. And you're also going to need a paintbrush. This is just a little water cup and a sponge to clean my paintbrush in between getting new colors. If you don't have paint, then you can just color your paper plate or your piece of paper using markers, crayons, colored pencils. And if you aren't using paint today, you can still color your paper plate like an impressionist. So really think about how the impressionists were painting. How did Monet paint? He painted fast. He painted bold with bright colors, okay? So that's how we are going to paint or color our lily pad. If you're in my face-to-face classes, you need to flip your paper over or your paper plate over, and we're going to write our name, okay? And bonus points if you put your class code. Then we're gonna flip it back over and we are ready to start painting. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready and open up my water cup so that I am ready to clean my paintbrush in between getting new colors. And I'm just gonna start with green, but you can start with any color that you want to. And I'm actually gonna grab quite a bit because we have to cover this whole entire piece of paper or your paper plate. Okay, so I'm just going to start adding paint. And can you see, I'm not really thinking too hard. I'm just adding it to my paper plate. Trying to cover up that space a little bit, get in between those little crevices on your paper plate. If you have ridges on your paper plate, we want to make sure those are all covered up. and I'm going fast, just grabbing more paint. I don't want to switch my color just yet, so I don't even need to clean my paintbrush. Just go fast, back and forth with my paintbrush, and I'm also doing very short brush strokes. Short brush strokes. A long brush stroke looks like this. A short brush stroke looks like this. Very quick, very fast, very tiny, okay? So in Impressionism, they use a lot of short brush strokes, so you can practice that today. And I think I want to go in with some more color, so I need to clean my paintbrush, all right? So just draw an X in my water cup here. Draw an X in dirty old SpongeBob, and my paintbrush is nice and clean, or clean enough anyways. And I'm gonna grab another color, but I didn't even think too hard. I just dipped my paintbrush in that color, and I like it, so I'm gonna keep using it. I'm just gonna go back and forth using those short brush strokes that we are going to practice today. And my wrist is kind of just going like this, kind of flicking back and forth to get those beautiful brush strokes and texture on my lily pad, just like how Monet would do. I'm working on covering all that white space because we don't want any white paper plate showing through. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to cover that up, going all the way around my paper plates. And this style of painting definitely does get messy because you're going fast. You're not thinking too hard, okay? So it's okay if we get a little bit messy today, as long as it's not, you know, on purpose or anything. We don't want to get paint all over our table or on our clothes or anything. So just be mindful of where your brush is, where your paintbrush is, and go from there, okay? So it does get a little messy. As you can see, I'm getting paint on my hands, and that is perfectly fine. Okay, no worries. I bet Monet's hands were covered in paint by the time he was done with the painting. But just try to be a little bit mindful so we don't get paint on the floor or across the classroom or anything. That would be a disaster, okay? So just be mindful of that, but it does get a little messy. So just so you guys know, your hands are gonna get messy, but that's fine. Don't worry about it, okay? That just means that you're working really hard. Now I am going to switch my color. I've covered my whole plate in these beautiful blues and greens. So now I want to add some brighter colors, and I'm just going to draw an X in my water, draw an X on SpongeBob, and I'm going to switch over to yellow now. I'm still using those short brush strokes, grabbing some paint, short brush strokes all the way across my lily pad. Okay, and since this green and blue paint is still a little bit wet, that yellow is going to kind of start to blend in with those other colors that we put down. And I'm loving how the yellow is looking. It adds a lot of brightness to my lily pad. And you can see those gorgeous brush strokes that my paintbrush is laying down onto my paper plate. I really love this style of painting because you don't have to think too hard. Like, it's just fun. You just get to put the paint down and kind of express yourself through the paint and not worry too much about the final result. Even though the final result does look beautiful, we're more concerned about using these short brush strokes and bright colors to get this impressionist technique down. And the more paint that you have on your paintbrush, the thicker your brush strokes will be. And the less paint you have on your brush, you won't really be able to see that brush stroke as much. So as you can see, right here and here, I had a lot more paint on my paintbrush, and it was able to create that brush stroke texture. Okay, I'm just going in, adding a little bit more short brush strokes to add some more texture in an impressionist style, and it's looking very good so far, if I do say so myself. And I'm gonna clean my paintbrush because I'm done with the yellow. I think I want to add just blue now. Okay, clean my paintbrush, switch over to this bright blue, and I don't think I want a lot of this, just a little bit. So I'm just going to take a little bit and do those short brush strokes on my paper plate, just like that. I still want my lily pad to be mainly green though, Okay, we don't want to have a purple lily pad or pink lily pad. It still should look pretty natural with the green color, but we can add a few accent colors in there like blue, yellow, blue-green. Maybe you want to add a little orange in there. Totally up to you, but the main color should be green. Short, quick brush strokes. I just keep reminding myself that to use short and quick brush strokes throughout this, because that is what creates that beautiful impressionist style. And I think I'm going to go in with my last color, which is going to be white. Okay, and you can add white to yours if you want to, but you do not have to. I just like adding white to any of my paintings because it really just brightens the whole thing up. So I'm just taking a little bit of white, going in and adding it here and there, not thinking too hard about it. I'm not going to go in and blend all these colors together. I just want to add some short strokes here and there, and I still want to be able to see all the different colors that I use. So I can see the green, I can see that blue, the yellow, the white, and I can see all those beautiful, beautiful brush strokes that I created using short, fast motions with my paintbrush. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. Once you're happy with your lily pad, you can see those beautiful brush strokes, you have bright colors in there, and your whole entire plate is covered, then you are good to go. Don't forget, if you don't have paint, then you can just use crayons or markers and just do short strokes with those to create your impressionist style lily pad. I hope you guys had a lot of fun creating this beautiful impressionist painting today. I cannot wait to see how they turn out. I know they're going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.